Hello, today I'll be discussing a crucial aspect of your academic writing and legal research, the OSCOLA referencing rules. When you write problem questions or essays, it's essential to acknowledge the legal sources that you have used and adhere to a constant method of citing them. Most law schools across the UK rely on OSCOLA referencing, and it is widely used in the legal profession as well. However, you should also read through your university's policy on referencing in exams and coursework, as they may have specific requirements for formatting your references in addition to the general OSCOLA guidelines. Today we'll be going through the general OSCOLA guidelines that you should be using in your assessments. It's essential not to overlook the referencing requirements, as failing to follow these can compromise the quality and validity of your answers. Referencing also provides an excellent opportunity to showcase your research, as well-referenced answers often receive higher marks. The OSCOLA referencing system involves inserting footnotes throughout your answer after quoting from another source. These footnotes should then be compiled into a bibliography at the end of your work. The structure of the footnote will vary depending on the sources that you are referencing. Today we'll be looking at an example paragraph that references both primary and secondary sources. It's important that you use both primary and secondary sources in your work to allow you to achieve high grades in your assessments. When using OSCOLA referencing, you must use footnotes. To add a footnote to your writing on Word, you should click your point of reference, go to the References tab in the banner on Word, and select the Insert Footnote tool. As you can see, we are adding a footnote to reference the case used in the last sentence of the paragraph, which is footnote 6. You then can type in your reference and press Enter to complete the footnote. As you can see in the footnote we just added, we use a neutral citation. In the law of England and Wales, a neutral citation is a unique identifier assigned to a case by the court itself. It consists of the year the case was decided, a court abbreviation, and a unique number. The purpose of a neutral citation is to prove a standardized and easily accessible reference for a case, regardless of what law report it's published in. Using a neutral citation is important in your OSCOLA referencing for cases for reasons of universality and accessibility. This is because neutral citations are court-assigned identifiers, which means they are the same regardless of what law report they are published in. This ensures that your references can be easily traced and located by others, regardless of the specific law report someone may be using. Furthermore, by using neutral citations, you maintain consistency in your referencing of cases. Since neutral citations remain the same across different law reports, you don't need to worry about variations in citation formats when referring to the same case from different sources. This consistency enhances the clarity and reliability of your references. Neutral citations also provide a direct and efficient means of locating a case. They are often included in the official transcripts and judgments published by the courts, making it easier to find the full text of a case online. The neutral citation can be used to search for the case on court websites, legal databases, and on other online resources, including WestLaw. This ensures that you will have a quick and accurate retrieval of the case that you are referencing. When referencing cases, if a neutral citation is available, it is expected that you will use it. If a case has both a neutral citation and a law report citation, use the neutral citation first and then the law report that you've used. If a neutral citation is not available for a case because it was decided before 2001, you can resort to using solely the law report citation. By utilising neutral citations in your referencing, you will ensure that your citations are universally accessible, consistent, and facilitate a simple location of the cases that you are referring to. This enhances the clarity, reliability, and professionalism of your legal writing where you are using cases. So firstly, we will be looking at citing primary sources such as case law using OSCOLA referencing. The format for an OSCOLA reference for a case depends on whether or not the case was published before 2001. If the case was published before 2001, it will not have a neutral citation, and you should reference it directly from a law report using the most authoritative report available. To demonstrate citing a case without a neutral citation, we will look at the case of R.V. Lord Chancellor, which is used in the example paragraph. Using the information available on WestLaw, you would start your note with the case name and then follow that with the year 1998. You would then use the most authoritative report, which here is that of the Queen's Bench, signified by the letters QB. There is no volume number for this report, so this can be omitted. The case report starts on page 575. You can see that WestLaw has summarised this information, which gives you the correct form for the law report. As a specific quote is used, you must find the location of the quote within the law report. As you can see here, the quote is from page 586. Therefore, you would add this onto the end of the OSCOLA reference to pinpoint the quote. This reference should then be inserted as a footnote after the quote. The next case stated in this paragraph is R on the application of Miller and another v. Secretary of State for exiting the European Union. As this case was decided after 2001, it will take a different form to the reference in R v. Lord Chancellor. To reference this case, you must first locate the case on WestLaw to find its neutral citation. Here the neutral citation is 2017 UKSC 5, as the case was heard before the UK Supreme Court. This comprises the first part of the footnote. You then need to find the most authoritative report that this case was reported in. Here it is the Appeals Cases Report, with the case report starting on page 61. It does not matter that the year of the report is different to the year that the case was decided. This comprises the second part of the OSCOLA reference. Pinpointing is not needed as the case is used purely as an example without any quotes or ideas derived from it. The final case that we will be looking at is not explicitly stated in the text. The author has derived a quote from the case of Thoburn v. Sunderland City Council without explicitly stating in the text that they have done so. In situations like this, footnoting is incredibly important to allow the quote to be identified. As this is a specific quote, pinpointing will be required. Using WestLaw, you can find that the neutral citation is 2002 EWHC 195. And that the most authoritative report is 2003 QB 151. To pinpoint, you must then find the quote in the version of the law report that you have cited. Here the reference should include 62 in brackets, because the quote is directly from paragraph 62 of the QB law report. We will now look at the secondary source used paragraph. The secondary source used here is a journal article by Jeffrey Jow. As you can see on the screen, the form of reference for a journal article will depend on whether there is a volume number for the journal. The author of this paragraph credits Jow for his idea, but does not explicitly state where he outlined this position, and they also include a direct quote from the article. Using the information available on WestLaw, it is evident that this article was published in 2006 in the Public Law Journal, which is abbreviated to PL, with the report starting on page 562. This forms the basic OSCOLA reference, but as a specific quote was used, this must be located and pinpointed. The quote used in this paragraph is from page 564 of the article, which should be added to the end of the OSCOLA reference. Having formulated these references in the OSCOLA style and having inserted them as footnotes where suitable, they will appear at the bottom of the page. While this paragraph uses numerous cases and references a journal article, it does not exhibit the other possible sources that you may use in your work. These include statutes, books, Law Commission reports, news articles, and websites. I will briefly run through the form that these sources will take in an OSCOLA footnote, as you can see on your screen. UK statutes are relatively simple to reference. You simply need to remove the before the statute name and state the year. The way in which you will format a book for an OSCOLA reference will depend upon the number of authors. However, the general formula is that you start with the author, then have the title, then in brackets include the edition and published year, followed by the page number and any possible pinpointing. For a Law Commission report, you state that it was written by the Law Commission, then you include the report title and in brackets the report number and the year of the report, followed by the paragraph number. For a news article, you will state the author, the title of the article, the name of the newspaper, and then in brackets include the city of publication and the date on which it was published. You will then include the page number on which the article is published. You should not rely on using websites in your academic writing. However, if you choose to do so, you should cite them as follows. First, you should state the author, then the web page, then in brackets the website and the date of publication, followed by the URL and the date that you accessed this website. Additionally, there are some general rules that you should follow with all of your OSCOLA footnotes. First, each footnote should have a full stop at the end. Secondly, you should try to be as specific as you possibly can. For example, not only stating the book you used, but also the page number, or for a statute, the relevant section. This is known as pinpointing, and you should aim to do this wherever possible. You should also always try to quote from an original source, rather than a book that quotes a source or another form of secondary referencing. You should be able to find the original source through the secondary source's references. Finally, if you've referenced the entire name of the source correctly, you do not have to footnote the full source name for the rest of that piece of text. For example, once you've referenced the full name of a case or a statute once in your footnotes, you can then abbreviate these by putting in a shortened name in brackets at the end of the full source name the first time you quote it. You can also use the Latin abbreviation IBID if you're quoting the same source in consecutive footnotes. Footnotes are only half of OSCOLA referencing. All OSCOLA footnotes need to be included in a corresponding bibliography at the end of your work. Your bibliography should be separated by each type of source used, with each of these formatted in alphabetical order. If you've referenced the same source multiple times, you only need to include it once in your bibliography. You should also not include any abbreviations of case names or statutes in your bibliography. For all sources, bibliographies do not include pinpointing and do not require a full stop after each source. The format of the source changes between the footnote and the bibliography for some sources. For cases, the only difference between a footnote and a bibliography entry for the case is that the case name is not italicized, pinpointing is not used, and there is no full stop at the end of the reference. The only difference between a footnote and a bibliography entry for a journal article is that the author's name is changed so that the surname is listed first, followed by their initials. For statutes, the only difference between the footnote reference and the bibliography entry is that the bibliography entry should not include individual sections, subsections, or schedules. Similarly to journal articles, the only difference between the format of a footnote and a bibliography entry for a book is that the author is now listed by surname first. This is also the same for newspaper articles. Finally, there is no difference in the format between a footnote and a bibliography entry for a Law Commission report or for a website. I hope that this video will have enhanced your understanding of the rules you need to follow when referencing using OSCOLA. By following these rules, you demonstrate your attention to detail, enhance the credibility of your work, and uphold the integrity of the legal field. Remember, accurate and consistent referencing is not just a requirement, it's a way to demonstrate your legal research abilities. As you continue with your academic journey, you should practice OSCOLA referencing, as it will undoubtedly elevate the quality and professionalism of your legal writing, which will allow you to achieve top grades.